According to Politico, President Biden is ready to commute sentences of nearly all men on federal death row. The president will block Donald Trump's chance to quickly resume executions. Tyrone Bowman live, welcome to the program. Let's begin the conversation according to Politico. President Joe Biden is commuting the sentences of nearly every prisoner on the federal government's death row, a sweeping decision designed to hinder President-elect Donald Trump's ability to rapidly resume executions. Biden will commute the sentences of 37 of the 40 men condemned to death, the second mass clemency in the weeks following the pardon he issued to his son, Hunter Biden. The president called the death row commutations, which will instead sentence them to imprisonment for life without the possibility of parole, consistent with his administration's moratorium on executions. Quote, "Make no mistake, I condemn these murderers. Grieve for the victims of their despicable acts, and ash and ache for all the families who have suffered unimaginable and irreparable loss," Biden said in a statement Monday, "but guided by my conscience and my experience as a public defender, chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, vice president and now president, I am more convinced than ever that we must stop the use of the death penalty at the federal level," close quote. President Biden added that the commutations were also spurred by Trump's fervent support for capital punishment, saying he would not allow the incoming administration to restart executions for those he had spared over the last 4 years. 13 federal inmates were put to death during Trump's first term. In some instances, he took cases to the Supreme Court to defeat their legal appeals, and might I add, and they were mostly black men. Biden's commutations exclude 3 prisoners convicted for what the president characterized as terrorism or hate-motivated mass murder. Boston Marathon bomber Zacchaeus Natsaview and mass shooters Robert Bowers, who killed 11 people at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, and Dylan Roof, who killed 9 people at Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina. The move does nothing for people sentenced to death in state courts, which far outnumber the federal tally. The Death Penalty Information Center counts 2,242 people on death row at the state or federal level in the U.S. or face the possibility of being resentenced to death in a new trial. Biden's decision allows a Justice Department recommendation that he grant the commutations and amid increasing pressure from a range of groups that have advocated for a series of clemency actions in his final days. Though the administration has done little to follow through on Biden's 2020 campaign trail support for abolishing the death penalty, it did halt all executions and conducted a review of capital punishment that the Justice Department is now on the verge of publishing. The president's pardon for his son Hunter prompted bipartisan blowback. He then commuted the sentences of nearly 1,500 people convicted of nonviolent crimes and pardoned another 39. And don't forget, incoming President-elect Donald Trump has vowed on day one he will free all of what he calls patriots and political prisoners and absolve them of all crimes and pardon every last one of them. That mass clemency also proved controversial, with Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro blasting the inclusion of an infamous former Pennsylvania judge as absolutely wrong. That particular judge, it was called cash for sale. That particular judge was in charge of the juvenile courts up in someplace up in the eastern part of Pennsylvania, and he profited and made over $1 to $5 million by sentencing young men to harsh and brutal punishment. Biden is sure to face imminent criticism as well for shielding nearly everyone on death row from execution. Several Republicans, including Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, had already blasted the prospect of the commutations for granting mercy to some of the nation's most notorious murderers. In anticipation, the White House on Monday also released a lengthy list of quotes from clemency activists and other advocacy organizations praising Biden's decision. And let's add this as well. It is the president's right to commutate or exonerate or pardon anyone that he chooses to. They know that constitutionally. but they never say anything against the guy that they voted for and that they're going to put back in power. He can say and do whatever he wants at any time. They'll go along with that. The White House also indicated that more clemency actions may be on the way. Biden is reviewing additional pardons and commutations. It said committing to additional steps to provide meaningful second chances in the weeks before he leaves office. Thank you, Buster. Would you kindly subscribe to my channel? I would appreciate it. Well, there you have it. It's time to get out of here and go home and get some well-deserved rest and get refreshed so we can come back tomorrow. So enjoy the channel and enjoy the stories that we have published so far tonight. Till next time, thank you for watching. Never surrender, never quit.